Good evening. You tune back in for our spiritual gumbo back to the basics. We're just going to finish up where we left off and keep going from there. You got me for 10 minutes. And we're in Genesis chapter 1, verse 20. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth reptiles, having life, and winged creatures, flying above the earth, in the firmament in the firmament of heaven." And it was so. And God made great whales, and every living reptile, which the waters brought forth according to their kinds, and every creature that flies with wings according to its kind. And God saw that they were good. And God blessed them, saying, "Increase and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the creatures that fly be multiplied upon the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. Now, several things take place just then that have to really be appreciated. Number one is every single animal and creature that is made is annotated to being a living soul. The other important part of this, within this happening, is that you notice that the reptiles, the great whales, and the flying creatures, okay, flying above the earth. So now, when I bring this up, I just contend that we're going to read about another set of animals getting created. The distinction between animals or birds that have webbed feet and non-webbed feet. The the distinction between reptiles that have webbed feet and non-webbed feet. Just something for y'all to think about. Verse 24. No, verse 23. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind." And right by the creature it says soul, quadrupeds, reptiles, and wild beasts of the earth according to their kind. And it was so. And God made the wild beasts of the earth according to their kind, and cattle according to their kind, and all the reptiles of the earth according to their kind. And God saw that they were good. So, more reptiles, more birds. Now we have quadrupeds, and we have wild beasts of the earth to also add to it. But we have to distinguish that the cattle are not wild beasts of the earth. Right on. They are quadrupeds, but they are not wild beasts of the earth. Uh, and to go ahead and to really elaborate, there's a difference between a water reptile and a land reptile, a water bird and a land bird. But that's neither here nor there. We're just going to keep it pushing. Now notice, we're going to read this. Listen to this. And God made the wild beasts of the earth according to their kind, and all the reptiles of the earth according to their kind, and saw that they were good. So once again, these animals breed when they make other babies. They make babies that look like them. If the Most High God wanted for there to be genetic diversity within a single organism, he would have done so back then. He didn't do that. So that's why gene diversity only exists when people combine things that aren't normally supposed to go together. Going forward. Verse 26. And God said, "Let us make man according to our image and likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of sea, and over the flying creatures of heaven, and over all the cattle, and all the earth, and over all the reptiles that creep on the earth." And God made man. According to the image of God, he made him. One moment. Male and female, he made them. And God blessed them, saying, "Increase and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the seas, and flying creatures of heaven, and all the cattle, and all the earth, and all the reptiles that creep on the earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given to you every seed-bearing herb sowing seed which is upon all the earth, and every tree which has in it itself the fruit of seed that is sown. To you it shall be for food, and to all the wild beasts of the earth, and to all the flying creatures of heaven, and to every reptile creeping on the earth, which has in itself the breath of life." even every plant for food. Now, once again, let's just go back real quick. Verse 30. And to all the wild beasts of the earth, and to all the flying creatures of heaven, and to every reptile creeping on the earth, which has in itself the breath of life, a living soul. Now, notice that everything that they were given dominion over has a living soul. It never once mentions the man having a living soul. And also, keen attention, there are two different creation of animals before the man is created. The man and the woman, but let's just keep it pushing. Verse 30. And to all the wild beasts of the earth, and to all the flying creatures of heaven, and to every reptile creeping on the earth, which has in itself the breath of life, even every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw all the things that he had made, and behold, they were very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. And the heavens and the earth were finished, and the whole world of them. So the world and the earth are not the same. Can you dig that? I could argue that the world is actually the universe. We're not going to go there. We're just going to keep it. And now we're at verse 1 of chapter 2. Going to just move right into it. And however far we get, we're going to stop there and we'll pick up again later. And a quick review. Most High God establishes space and time by creating the heaven and the earth. Before this space and time, we can contend doesn't even exist, and there's no concept of it. You could even contend that without the ordinance of night and day, the concept of time would even be even more lost. The Most High God created two lights, one greater, one lesser, to regulate the night and day because he realized he didn't want it to be pitch black at night. Just something to throw out there. Verse 1 of chapter 2. Oh yeah, and the man was made after the animals. Very important thing. Listen to this. And the heavens and the earth were finished, and the whole world of them. And God finished on the sixth day his works, which he made. And he ceased on the seventh day from all his works, which he made. And God blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because in it he ceased from all his works, which God began to do. This is the book of the generation of heaven and earth, when they were made, in the day in which the Lord God made the heaven and the earth. And every herb of the field before it was on the earth, and all the grass of the field before it sprang up. For God had not rained on the earth, and there was not a man to cultivate it. But there rose a fountain out of the earth, and watered the whole face of the earth. And God formed the man of the dust of the earth, and breathed upon his face the breath of life. And the man became a living soul. Stop right there. Such an important thing. The earth was covered in water, was it not? Right. So why would you have to water the whole face of the earth unless in the process of you creating everything, certain parts have dried up? Right. The Most High God said it hadn't rained yet. Come on. And the fruit and everything. Listen. Before, it doesn't say, it says, and every herb of the field before it was up, and all the grass of the field. You don't read nothing about no fruit trees. The reason why that's important is because the people still had something to eat. The people before Adam. Going forward. And every single animal. Once again, I can argue that the animals and the water didn't eat anything and were self-sufficient for a long time. However, note that man becomes a living soul. Note that this man is not made with the woman, as far as you know. Verse 8, and God planted a garden eastward in Edom, and placed there the man whom he had formed. And God made a spring also out of every And God made to spring up also out of the earth every tree beautiful to the eye and good for food, and the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of learning, the knowledge of good and evil. A river proceeds out of Eden to the water the garden. Thence it divides itself into 4 heads. Oh, it looks like we're at 10 minutes. I'm sorry. Spiritual Gumbo out.